Paramahamsa iti namine namosita Swarupananda Paramahamsa namine Ora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Krishnaya Te Namosita Swarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Ora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Krishnaya Te Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sudeva Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sudeva Bhakta Vrinda Hari Nitai Ko Nitai Ko Hari Ko Hari Ko Nitai Ko Nitai Ko Hari Ko Nitai Ko Nitai Ko Hari Ko Hari Ko Nitai Ko Nitai Ko Hari Ko Hari Ko Nitai Ko Nitai Ko Hari Ko Radharani Shama Sundar in the path 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 Hari Ko Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, 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 Jaya Jaya, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jaya Guru Gauranga Jaya Jaya Guru Gauranga Jaya Jaya Guru Gauranga Jaya Jaya Guru Gauranga Haribol, salamat po. Krishna Krishna, Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol. Thank you very much, Elinet and family, for the wonderful kirtan. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. We have not had couple of classes due to, as you know, we have a very severe typhoon that hit the Philippines, no? And so that's the reason. Right now, we're all okay. So before we start, we pay our obeisances first. Let's all pray. Mo Siddhiswarupananda, Paramahamsarami Gaura Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prastaya. Bhagavad Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Haribo. Thank you very much, Raya. Yeah, so do we have our first reader?
Haribol Namaste. Yes, sir. Sir Praveen po, our first reader.
Okay, nasa na tayo? Canto 2?
Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 27 onwards.
Okay, there you go.
Haribol. Text 27. The knees of the universal form are the planetary system of the name Sutala, and the two thighs are the Vitala and Atala planetary systems. The hips are Mahitala, and outer space is the depression of his navel. Shall I continue with text 28?
Yes, please.
The chest of the original personality of a gigantic form is the luminary planetary system. His neck is the Mahar planets. His mouth is the Jana planets. And his forehead is the Tapa planetary system. The topmost planetary system, known as Satyalok, is the head of the he who has 1,000 heads. The effulgent luminary planets like the Sun and the Moon are situated almost in the mid place of the universe, and as such they are to be known as the chest of the original gigantic form of the Lord. And above the luminary planets, called also the heavenly places of the universal dictatorate demigods, are the Mahar, Jana, Tapa planetary systems, and above all, the Satyaloka planetary system, where the chief directors of the modes of material nature reside, namely Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. This Vishnu is known as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and he acts as the super soul in every living being. There are innumerable universes floating on the causal ocean, and in each of them, the representation of the Virat form of the Lord is there, along with innumerable suns, moons, heavenly demigods, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, all of them situated in one part of the inconceivable potency of the Lord Krishna, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 42. Haribol.
Haribo, thank you very much, Mr. Praveen. I hope you don't mind if my voice is a little bit low at the moment because I'm I'm situated right now in the public place. I cannot really speak louder. Is my sound okay? Yeah, I know.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So the Virat Rupa form of Krishna is mentioned herein. This Virat Rupa form is also known as the gigantic form of the Lord. And he actually represents all the planetary system. In one universe, there is one Virat form in one universe. Remember, there is not only a universe, there is what is known as multiverses. Multiverses, because if you try to check on the coastal ocean, there are innumerable universes there. And each of these universes, one Lord Brahma, one Lord Shiva, and of course, Lord Vishnu is there. So, this one universe is actually a representation of the Viratupa form of Krishna, the Viratupa form. As already mentioned, his different limbs of the body, this Viratupa form, is, uh, has got a representation of the different planetary systems. Remember, these planetary systems are divided into three. The lowest is what is known as the Patala Lokas, and the intermediate planets are known as the Earth is part of that, and the higher planetary systems known as the planets of the demigods or the heavenly planets. Okay, so each of the limbs of Krishna, for example, his knees, his chest, and his feet, his thighs, legs, arms, um, every limb of his body is represented by different planetary systems. And the highest of which is what is known as the Satyaloka. Satyaloka is considered to be the head of uh, the universe, the head, Satyaloka. Okay, and so there are many different types of planets representing different types of the limbs of Krishna. So let us continue reading.
Haribol. Haribol, everyone.
Haribol, Shani, go ahead, Shani.
Text 29. Translation. His arms are demigods, headed by Indra. The 10 directional sides are his ears, and physical sound is the sense of his hearing. His nostrils are the two Ashvinikumaras, and the material flavor is the sense of his smelling. His mouth is the blazing fire. Purport. The description of the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead, made in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, is further explained here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The description in the Bhagavad Gita 11.30 runs as follows. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people in your blazing mouth and covering all the universe by your immeasurable rays. Scorching the words, you are manifest. In that way, Srimad Bhagavatam is the postgraduate study for the student of the Bhagavad Gita. Both of them are the signs of Krishna, the absolute truth, and so they are interdependent. The conception of the Virata Purusa, or the gigantic form of the Supreme Lord, is said to include all the dominating demigods, as well as the dominated living beings. Even the minutest part of a living being is controlled by the empowered agency of the Lord. Since the demigods are included in the gigantic form of the Lord, worship of the Lord, whether in his gigantic material conception or in his eternal transcendental form as Lord Sri Krishna, also appeases the demigods and all the other parts and parcels, as much as watering the root of the tree distributes energy to all other parts. Therefore, for materialists also, worship of the universal gigantic form of the Lord leads one to the right path. One need not risk being misled by approaching many demigods for fulfillment of different desires. The real entity is the Lord Himself, and all others are imaginary, for everything is included in Him only. Haribolam.
Namaste, Shani. So here we can learn that worship of the demigods for material sense gratification is not recommended in Srimad Bhagavatam. At the same time, if you worship the Virat Rupa form of the Lord, you're actually at the same time already offering the demigods, even though you are not directly offering something to the demigods, but when you offer something to Krishna, okay, because Krishna represents all, it's tree, and the branches, the twigs, and the leaves, etc., are all parts of the tree. So similarly, when you water the root of the tree, what happens is that all of the parts of the tree become known. So ganun when you surrender yourself to Krishna, who is considered to be uh, the cause of all cause, the source of everything. You don't necessarily have to separately try to um, please the demigods for sense gratification. What is not allowed here really is worshipping the demigods for one's own sensual interest or one's own self-interest. Yeah? While we respect the demigods, we actually respect the demigods because they also represent uh, the they're like ministers in one, say in one government. There's the president, and then you have secretaries or ministers. They administer different types of governmental uh, governmental functions. Yeah, so you have the minister of this, minister of that, secretary of this, secretary of that. They are all there to please the president. So similarly, all of the demigods are there to actually please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yeah, that is that you don't necessarily have to in the some parts of the Vedas. One may probably argue why is it in some parts of the Vedas the worship of the demigods is recommended. Yeah, it is recommended. While it is recommended, it is not the supreme. It is not the supreme instruction of Krishna. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, whatever food you eat, whatever thing you're going to offer, whatever strength you have, whatever intelligence you have, etc., must be done to please me. Krishna states that in the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So, in fact, everything is connected to the Supreme Person. When you're offering something to Krishna, automatically everybody, including the demigods, are pleased. And when you are offering something to the demigods, ultimately, actually offering it to Krishna also. In other words, although, like Lord Indra, if you remember the Govardhan, yeah, wherein he got so displeased that he tried to pour rains on Vrindavan in Govardhan, um, as a result of his being displeased like this. But the reason why he got displeased is because he was unaware that personality is seeing the little boy blue that he was looking at, amazed at how the residents of Vrindavan actually are following his instructions, although he was just a little boy. He was so amazed. He didn't know. Only knew when he tried to send the Sambartaka clouds to the residents of Vrindavan. Sambartaka clouds are considered to be the most powerful uh, clouds, the most powerful cloud that has got supernatural powers. Yeah, Sambartaka. So he uh, was amazed because he actually used all his weapons already, and yet, Krishna was just standing there like a little boy carrying a little umbrella, you know, you know. And of course, he finally came to his senses and descended and offered his obeisances to Krishna. So it's like that. Uh, all right, let's read the time.
Haribol namaste, sir. Okay lang po yung sound ko po.
Very clear. Very clear.
Haribol namaste, everyone. Text 30. The sphere of outer space constitute his eye pits, and the eyeball is the sun as the power of seeing. His eyelids are both the day and night, and in the movements of his eyebrows, the Brahma and similar supreme personalities resides. His palate is the director of water, Varuna, and the juice or essence of everything in his tongue. To common sense, the description in this verse appears to be somewhat contradictory because sometimes the sun has been described as the eyeball and sometimes as the outer space, sphere. But there is no room for common sense in the injunctions of the sastras. We must accept the description of the sastras and concentrate more on the form of the Virat Rupa than on common sense. Common sense is always imperfect, whereas the description in the sastras is always perfect and complete. If there is any incongruity, it is due to our imperfection and not the sastras. That is the method of approaching Vedic wisdom. Continue po, sir.
Yan muna. And
Okay
then
po.
basahin mo lang ito ulit mamaya.
Okay po, sir.
Yeah, so sometimes when you read the Vedas, sometimes you meet verses that are kind of like contradictory to your common sense, like that. Yeah? It is described that the problem there is not the so-called common sense that you have, but it is the limitation of your common sense. Because you have to remember our senses are all imperfect. Our senses are imperfect. Ngayon nga lang if something happens right now, if I close this like this, are you able to see me? Wala na eh. di ba? You're only able to see the background, but that is the so-called power of our senses. And when you get to some verses in the Vedas indicating a contradiction to your so-called common sense, we just have to really follow the Vedas, because the Vedas has been there since time immemorial. Yeah, it has been the guide of everyone who actually was born or get born in this material world. The Vedas is like the manual of life. It's the manual of life. Try to check it. So whatever is described there is actually perfect. Why is it perfect? Because these are the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Absolute Truth. Yeah. I'll give you one example. Yeah. About 500 years ago, scientists would say that the Earth is flat, right? They're saying Earth is flat, and then when you go to the uh, when you go to the deepest part of the Earth, yeah, furthest, that you actually will fall down. That is their so-called common sense. Yeah. But you see, the Vedas has been telling us since time immemorial, that the Earth is actually cylindrical, below. So you cannot fall because of the pull of gravity. So this was unknown. This was unknown to the so-called scientists at the time, only to find out later that nagkamali kami. So that is how far our senses go. Our senses are really imperfect na. Hindi mo talaga pwede sabihin perfect. Imperfect and very limited. Very limited. So if you want to learn something in the Vedas, you don't question it. There is another example given by Srila Bhaktivedanta before. Yeah, if you want to know the existence of your father, for example, your father left home when you were like 1 year old, like that. You hardly even saw the face of your father, yeah, but your mother has pictures taken when you were your first birthday, when you had some outings, etc. And then now you're an adult, and the so many people would probably come to you and say, "This is your father, this is your dad," etc. But who can be the greatest authority there? Greatest authority will be your mother. Yeah. If you want to know the existence of your father, you know what what favorite food he eats, what is his favorite sports, what is his favorite color, like this. So many things about your father that can be directly uh, introduced to you by your mother. You don't question that anymore. You still question the authority of your mother. Your mother, here is the picture of your dad. Or this is you when you were still small. This is your dad. And this is him. Who can be more authoritative than the mother? So similarly, if we want to understand, yeah, the inconceivable so-called uh, reality of this world, You simply have to turn the pages of the Bible, because that is where you get the absolute truth. Okay? Next reader. Ikaw pa rin.
Very po.
Mm.
Text 31. Ay, text 32. Modesty is the upper portion of his lips. Hankering is his chin. Religion is the breast of the Lord, and irreligion is his back. Brahmaji, who generates all living beings in the material world, is his genitals, and the Mitra, Varupa are his two testicles. The ocean is his waist, and the hills and mountains are the stocks of his bones. The Supreme Lord is not impersonal as misconceived by less intelligent thinkers. Rather, he is the Supreme Person as confirmed in all authentic Vedic literatures. But his personality is different from what we can conceive. It is stated here that Brahmaji acts as his genitals and that the Mitra Varunas are his two testicles. This means that as a person, he is complete with all bodily organs, but they are of different types with different potencies. When the Lord is described as impersonal, therefore, it should be understood that his personality is not exactly the type of personality found within our imperfect speculation. One can, however, worship the Lord even by seeing the hills and mountains, or the ocean and the sky as different parts and parcel of the gigantic body of the Lord, the Virat Parusa. The Virat
Purusa.
Rup Purusa,
Purusa.
Purusa. The Virat Rupa, as exhibited by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, is a challenge to unbelievers. Haribol.
Haribol. So this is the reason why Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita asked Lord Krishna to reveal his universal form. That is actually the Virat Rupa form of Krishna. You know. This is to challenge the in the future when when atheistic type of people would try to question the veracity of the existence of God, for instance. Yeah, how he actually is present in everything, how he is so gigantic that he represents the entire universe. Yeah, that the different uh, planetary systems is represented by his different, by his different limbs of the body. Yeah, um, that was the reason. The reason is simple: to make it so that people in future who would question the identity of the Supreme Personality of God, and as the person will find the answer. God is personal. He is never imperfect. And that is the reason why here, even his genitals uh, is represented by planetary system. Even his testicles is represented by Virat Mitra. Yeah. So the different parts of the body of Krishna is an indication that he is a person. God is a person. That he is never just a an impersonal energy or impersonal ball light, etc. No? Although you can consider God as impersonal, but remember, this impersonal feature of God comes from his personal feature. Yeah. So he's never impersonal, he's always personal. Personal talaga siya. You cannot consider him as impersonal. Tayo nga eh. Tayo nga we're just very minute particles of the universe. No? We're persons. You are a person. I am a person. That has got intelligence, etc. You know, the source. The source of our personality, the source of our identity as a person comes from the real source, the ultimate source, and that is God, Krishna. Yeah? So one can never deny that Krishna is a person. But unfortunately, in the Vedas and in many so-called yoga organizations, they do not accept that God is a person. They just simply say that he is impersonal. You know, he doesn't even have he's not even a Paramatma. Paramatma is the Supreme Person who is situated in everyone's heart. Yeah. And the Paramatma is actually a person. And the yogis whom they try to meditate on for hundreds and even thousands of years um, are said to be said to have able to get a glimpse. In other words, Lord Krishna uh, allowed himself to be seen by these yogis in the form of Paramatma. Paramatma is, like, situated in your heart. Yeah, that is the um, that is the expansion of Krishna, which is expanded in everything and in everyone. Yeah, Lord Paramatma. Lord Paramatma is not only seen in the hearts of each and every living being, but he is actually present in each and every atomic particle. In each and every atomic particle. Wow. Right now, between you and me, tsaka dito ngayon sa, like in this room, uh, there are millions and millions of atomic particles. And each of these minute atomic particle, God resides as Lord Paramatma. A person, not simply not simply a an impersonal force, but in fact, he is actually an expansion of God, an expansion of Krishna. Okay, so next reader time.
Horrible namaste po.
Namaste, Pinky. How are you?
Okay naman po.
All right. Are you, okay ka naman? Wala ka ng sakit?
Meron pa rin po, sir. Meron pa din po. But trying to get better po.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Okay po.
Go ahead, Pinky.
Next 33. Translation. O king, the rivers are the veins of the gigantic body, the trees are the hairs of his body, and the omnipotent air is his breath. The passing ages are his movement, and his activities are the reactions of the three modes of material nature. Purpose. The personality of Godhead is not a dead stone, nor he is inactive, as is poorly taught by some schools. He moves with the progress of time, and therefore life knows all about the past and future along with his present activities. There is nothing unknown to him. The conditioned souls are driven by the reactions of the modes of material nature, which are the activities of the Lord. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.12, the modes of nature act under his direction only, and as such no natural functions are blind or automatic. The power behind activities is the supervision of the Lord, and thus the Lord is never inactive, as is wrongly conceived. The Vedas say that the Supreme Lord has nothing to do personally, as is always the case with spirits, but everything is done by his direction. As it is said, that the blade of grass moves without his sanction. In the Brahma Samhita 5.48, it is said that all the universes and the heads of them, the Brahmas, exist only for the duration of his breathing period. The same is confirmed here. The air on which the universes and the planets within the universes exist is nothing but a bit of the breath of the unchangeable Virat Purusa. So even by studying the rivers, trees, air, and passing ages, one can conceive of the personality of Godhead without being misled by the formless conception of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 12.5, it is stated that those who are much inclined to the formless conception of the Supreme Truth are more troubled than those who can intelligently conceive the personal form. Haribol, namaste po.
Honestly, Pinky Haribol. So here is another example of how God is a person, not an impersonal force. That even here, while staying in the material world, for instance, here in this earth, yeah, we stay here, we can actually cannot conceive, perceive presence of God because He is represented by the different, like the trees are considered to be His hairs, the hairs of His body, yeah, uh, the different parts of the world in which we see, the mountains, the oceans, etc., are part of His body. So a Krishna conscious or God conscious person actually is able to perceive Him every day of his life, every moment, every moment. Uh, you cannot miss Him because He is that is His body. The whole of the universe is actually His body. And how can somebody be considered impersonal when the different planetary systems and the different parts of this world is represented by his limbs, di ba? So next reader.
Haribol, Ma'am Elenet, gusto mo mag-read? Haribol, namaste. Sino pong gusto pong mag-read?
George, Janner, would you like to read?
Fireball, sir.
Ayun. Thank you, Jana.
Text 34. O best amongst the Kurus, the clouds which carry water are the hairs on his head. The terminations of days or nights are his dress, and the supreme cause of material creation is in his intelligence. His mind is the moon, the reservoir of all changes. Text 35. The principle of matter, Mahatattva, is the consciousness of the omnipresent Lord, as asserted by the experts, and Rudra Dev is his ego. The horse, mule, camel, and elephant are his nails, and wild animals and quadrupeds are situated in the belt zone of the Lord. Continue pa po, sir.
Continue pa. Go ahead. Text 32.
Text 36. Varieties of birds are indications of his masterful artistic sense. Manu, the father of mankind, is the emblem of his standard intelligence, and humanity is his residence. The celestial species of human beings, like Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, Karanas, and angels, all represents his musical rhythm, and the demoniac soldiers are representations of his wonderful prowess. The aesthetic sense of the Lord is manifested in the artistic, colorful creation of varieties of birds like the peacock, parrot, cuckoo. The celestial species of human beings like the Gandharvas and Vidyadharas can sing wonderfully and can entice even the minds of the heavenly demigods. Their musical rhythm represents the musical sense of the Lord. How then can he be impersonal? His musical taste, artistic sense, and standard intelligence, which is never fallible, are different signs of his supreme personality. The Manu Samhita is the standard law book for humanity, and every human being is advised to follow this great book of social knowledge. Human society is the residential quarters of the Lord. This means that the human being is meant for God realization and association with God. This life is a chance for the conditioned soul to regain his eternal God consciousness and thus fulfill the mission of life. Maharaj Prahlad is the right type of representative of the Lord in the family of the Asuras. None of the living beings is away from the Lord's gigantic body. Each and every one has a particular duty in relation to the Supreme Body. Disruption in the matter of discharging the specific duty duty assigned to each and every living being is the cause of disharmony between one living being and another. But when the relation is reestablished in relation with the Supreme Lord, there is complete unity between all living beings, even up to the limit of the wild animals and human society. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed this living unity in the jungle of Madhya Pradesh, where even the tigers, elephants, and many other ferocious animals perfectly cooperated in glorifying the Supreme Lord. This is the way to peace and amity of all over the world. Arbol, sir.
Hi, Bo. Thank you very much, Jana. Yeah. So here we can understand that everybody and everything is actually a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. That each and every one of us, living beings, we have a sort of function that we need to act. We have a specific function. For example, as human beings, our specific instruction is to be able to understand who we are. That is our specific instruction. To understand why we are suffering, why is there suffering in the world, and how to get out from the suffering. And its goal is to get out from the wheel of birth and death. That is the goal of human life. So each and every one of us, we have a specific, particular duty or function. In other words, if you don't follow the instructions, general instructions, as a human being, you will suffer. For example, uh, you come to this world as a human being, but your consciousness is that of an animal. An animal is somebody who is just interested in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. You know, the four propensities of life. Uh, then there is disunity, nagkakaroon ng disunity because you are not engaged in a natural condition. Or natural condition to be able to understand higher laws, to understand who and what God is, etc., who we are. That is our nature, the nature of the soul. Yeah. So dito sa mundo, if we try to disrupt the natural laws of nature, then there will always be suffering. Nakita naman natin yun, in recent days pa lang, three very powerful typhoons hit the Philippines, right? Three very powerful. Why is that? Well, because man has abused Mother Nature. They have abused Mother Nature. What with all the mining firms that we have, etc. And if somebody tries to question why there is this, abuse of nature in the form of mining, yeah, you immediately become the enemy of this. Unfortunately, this is what's happening, and hindi tayo magugulat why uh, why we have these floods, why we have these earthquakes, etc. This is due to the many individuals greedy, very greedy attitudes. I don't need to explain to you the different ways how this is being exploited by many so-called leaders of our land. Pero yun ang effect. The effect is there. How can we deny it? So it is advised that we have to follow um, the advice of the Vedas in terms of following our um, prescribed duties, our constitutional position, yeah. And if person follows that uh, in all his heart, then he is to be considered a very peaceful person. Very peaceful. But if one wants to not follow it, the opposite happen. There will always be suffering. There will always be anxiety. There will always be high stresses of life. Yan po yung direct result. Yan. No? By not following the instructions of the Vedas, of the great spiritual masters, then ito po yung direct result. The result is suffering. Okay? So, hanggang dito na lang muna tayo, guys. We continue on Friday. Do you have any questions? Meron kayo questions? Isaac, nandiyan ka ba? Isaac, are you there? Aribo, Isaac. Would you kindly do the exit curtain, please?
Haribol!
Aribo, very clear ka.
Yeah.
You are very clear.
Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa iti namine Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa iti namine Harinama eva kevalam Jaya Jaya Sira Swaru Ananda Paramahamsa Jaya Jaya Sira Swaru Ananda Paramahamsa
Jaya Jaya Sira Swaru Ananda Paramahamsa Jaya Jaya Sira Swaru Ananda Paramahamsa
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Nitai Gaur Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Nitai Gaur
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Nitai Gaur Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Nitai Gaur
Guru Dev Guru Dev Jaya 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 Guru Dev Jaya Guru Dev Hari Bol Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you very much, Isaac and family.
Hari Bol, sir.
Leo, Kadasi, maraming salamat. Very, very nice exit kirtan. Maraming salamat din sa ating opening kirtan by Elinor and her family. Maraming salamat sa inyo. Of course, our admin in the room, Rhea, thank you very much. At ang host natin, thank you very much, Kabanlig family, headed by George and family. Maraming salamat. All the readers, thank you very much for sharing your voice, etc. And of course, all the participants, please accept my most humble obeisances to you all. Over to you, Rhea. Haribol.
Thank you very much din po, Sir Rada, and thank you, Ma'am Elinette and Sir Isaac and family for the kirtan po, and thank you to all our readers. Thank you, Sir George, for co-hosting, and everyone, Haribol, Jaya Gurudev Krishna.
Haribol.
Krishna Hari Bol.
Very well.
Haribol. Krishna, good night, everyone. Signing off po, Haribol.
See you on Friday. Okay.